まずそってあの30人切りの
どうした？頭を叩き割られたやつから前出ろ！
BERSERK. Here's a series that hasn't exactly rolled a double six when it comes to adaptations in recent years. Sure, the Golden Age trilogy was great, but it sucked that it essentially just retrotted old territory, and the 2016 anime... Oh, sweet merciful Jesus Christ on a stick. And now we have the last adaptation in game form. BERSERK and the Band of the Hawk, a Dynasty Warriors spin-off adaptation developed by Omega Force and published by Koei Tecmo for PS4, PS Vita and PC. And speaking as a new fan of the property, this game's adaptation of BERSERK's story does leave a fair amount to be desired, but it still manages to come away as a solid hack and slash game and adaptation that you can end up wasting hours on. Now, right off the bat, one issue this game has when compared to earlier Warriors games is its lack of content. It isn't to say there isn't plenty to do, but when compared to the likes of Hyrule Warriors, Samurai Warriors 4, or even Dynasty Warriors 8, the overall package is comparatively more anemic. What we do get is a story mode, the usual free mode, and the all-new Endless Eclipse mode. In regards to storytelling in story mode, Band of the Hawk does a pretty good job of handling the Golden Age arc. With the help of additional clips from the movie trilogy, it manages to tell a solid abridged version of that part of Guts' life. But it's when the Golden Age arc wraps up that the game's storytelling ability really shits the bed. It doesn't feel like you're getting an abridged retelling anymore. Instead, you get the story as told in the same style as the last Airbender movie. And since Guts is the main character, you're automatically forced to play as him for the majority of story mode, which really can be disappointing that you don't see things from the point of view of other characters. This is alleviated somewhat by some optional visual novel style dialogue sections and some cutscenes that can elaborate more on the story, but they're mostly just throwaways and they don't actually add anything of substance to the story.
今回の戦、鷹の段が先陣と聞きました。
ええ。今回の出陣で、この戦争に終止符を打つことになるかもしれません。
But it's the gameplay that's the real star of the show, and thankfully it shines like the Dickens, son. Turns out BERSERK is a fitting property to be adapted into the Warriors formula, as you throw yourself into combat and hear the satisfying metallic bang of Guts' sword cleaving through enemies. Though there is no getting around the feeling that something in the style of Dark Souls or even Monster Hunter would have been more fitting for the property. But that doesn't stop massacring your way through hordes of enemies from ever feeling awesome. Those familiar with the Warriors games will be right at home here, with the series' fluid combo system and RPG character progression and combo unlocks. But unlike Samurai Warriors 4, which moved the series combat forward with the hyper attack, this game changes things up with sub-weapon attacks, character-specific attacks that give you an edge in certain situations. These fit in well with the established combat system and makes the game feel all the more authentically like BERSERK alongside the gore. Which reminds me, it's awesome to finally see a Warriors game that not only acknowledges that you're killing people, but actually shows blood, and in some cases mild gore if you got the option turned on. However, there are some instances where the gore and blood can cause the game's engine to chug briefly. This doesn't ultimately hurt the experience, but it is noticeable and disappointing for a game in a series that's known for having hordes of enemies and a consistent frame rate having these issues. However, there is a bigger issue that plagues Band of the Hawk. It's bloated and padded. Too many of the story missions are just filler, and don't really have any reason for happening with what's occurring in the story. I mean, there's a bit where Griffith is hanging out with Princess Charlotte, and yet for no reason at all, you're killing bandits. And it shamelessly reuses maps and environmental assets. Don't be surprised if you do one mission early in the game, and then later on, play a new mission with the map at first looking like it's made from the same assets, only for it to then turn out you're actually playing on the same map from earlier, except you start from a different point of the map or an area that was previously locked off. And when this isn't the case, the game is most likely just recycling the assets of one map to another. Case in point, the Winter mission and the Count mission. This can't help but make the levels just feel like lazy copy and paste jobs regardless of how much work actually went into them. Especially when you look at the likes, again, of Samurai Warriors 4 or Hyrule Warriors, both of which made each map in their story campaigns wholly unique. If nothing else, at least the visuals are alright. They could have been better, but they're far from ugly, so at least the maps and character models aren't bad to look at.
エルフか。面白いものを連れているな。2年前といい、全くもって絵にし深きことよ。
But let's get back to the overall content of the package with free mode. This is disappointing. Why? How many characters could you play as in Samurai Warriors 4's free mode? Just under 60 without counting custom characters. And how many does Band of the Hawk have? Around 6 to 10. What the actual hell, Koei Tecmo? Why can't I play as Pippin or use free mode to roleplay as Corcus if he survived the eclipse? Disappointing character roster aside, free mode is what you've come to expect from the Warriors games. But Endless Eclipse mode ends up being the surprise highlight of this game and actually adds some originality to the true and tested Horde mode template. How Endless Eclipse works is you pick a character and fight your way through waves of enemies and make your way through progressively tougher levels, while trying to make your way to checkpoints that will let you save your progress. What makes this unique to other takes on Horde mode is that at certain points you have to choose an objective that changes up things like the aesthetic of the maps, the enemies you fight, and whether or not certain secondary objectives will occur and in what way they will occur. For instance, Bezuzo may show up in one map and help you out, but in the next map he'll be an opponent that you need to take on, or there may be this optional Demon of War that follows you around as you pursue your main objective, and killing it is completely optional. The other difference is that this mode also has some light Dark Souls elements mixed in with it. If you die or quit before a checkpoint, you're going to lose all your progress for a character, and you've got to start from the beginning with them. It's nice to see another game since Crackdown 2 that does something different with the template for Horde mode. Now, the only thing that's really left to bring up is this game's DLC. It's right now it's just some cosmetic DLC, which is fine, but not exactly something I'd recommend breaking out the wallet for. But if Koei Tecmo does decide to really support this game with DLC, they could use it to add so much more to this game with, well, a skirmish mode. This would be a golden opportunity to turn this game into a Berserk fan's wet dream, and could address free mode's anemic roster size. With a skirmish mode, they could use it to explore alternate what-if scenarios, like what if Guts didn't survive the eclipse, what if Griffith won the duel, or what if Corcus was fated to be the owner of the Egg of the King. This would be awesome and increase the game's shelf life exponentially. With all that being said, Berserk and the Band of the Hawk is a solid game and a good Warriors game that adds some twists to the series formula. But it's one that only fans of Berserk and the Warriors games will get the most out of. But if you're not one of these, it's still worth a look if you're curious, but I wouldn't call it a must-buy either. Awesome, it's great to finally get this video out, and up next it's going to be Yakuza 0, which reminds me, if you're wondering why this came out late, it's because, well, I started a new job and it's kind of screwed up my schedule. I'm still trying to get things back in order, and because of that, Yakuza 0 might just end up being a first impressions rather than a full-blown review. Just have to wait and see. I've also got some movie reviews in the pipeline that'll be coming out soon, and I got all that and more coming out, so, as always, stick around.